Dennis Young here, podcast number 6. All you out there, please subscribe to the channel. We have some great guests coming up, a great guest today, and it should be fun. So I'm going to introduce Andrew Gomory here, who I did music with a long time ago, and it's so great to see him again. And Andrew, go ahead. I want to ask you, just say briefly about yourself and your musical background, etc.
Yeah, well, Dennis, this is kind of amazing. Like we're noting, we haven't even seen each other for a scary amount of time, at least 40 years. But yeah, so before you and I got together, of course, I was in the band The Groceries, which we did right after college. We're a good old New Jersey band, put out a couple albums, but mostly played all around the greater New York area, and even a little bit up to Boston, down the shore. So that was a big thing. Before that, I don't know if you know this, I was a classical piano player. So I did that since I was about 8. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I always studied classical piano. Then after you and I got done with stuff and we had RD3 Records and the recording studio, then I took a break. I had kids. And but after about 18 years, I've been getting back into it. Started back with classical piano. I take lessons again.
Fantastic.
And now I'm back with 4/5 of the old Groceries, doing stuff. We're calling it Groceries 2.0. And we're back to writing, our version of pop music, which has really been fun.
That's fantastic. Well, I have so many good memories of your studio and everything that went on. And, I remember I found you basically through this Aquarian newspaper at the time.
The Aquarian, yes.
The Aquarian. You had an ad.
Yep.
And I was looking for somebody to do mixes for me. In fact, I still have, you could see the cassette.
All right.
From that era.
Yep.
There it is.
That's right.
That's the first one we did.
I would run in the studio and you had that stuff all done and we were just like mixing and that was before you and I started doing our own thing together.
I did three records with 3 mixes. So what happened, the funny story is I had all these cassettes, never sold one of them, hardly. About 4 years ago, a record store calls me in Chicago and says, are you Dennis? Yeah. I want to buy all those cassettes from you. I guessed they were selling cassette. I don't know what they were doing. So I saved about a couple of them. I'm glad I didn't throw them out.
Congratulations on that.
Well, yeah, that was a lucky break. I'll tell you that for sure. So I wanted to talk about RD3 Records and this record here.
Yep. That was our most popular. For sure.
Yeah. And my wife is a kindergarten teacher, and her kids love that song.
That is great.
Is there any plans for you to reissue some of these recordings, or because they're so good?
I appreciate that. Of course, I just seeing that album, it's always a little poignant. You got to mention Bill Tucker, who was just a wonderful guy.
I know.
Whose life ended prematurely. He was, tremendous guitar player.
I know he was.
And was, in such great bands. We did Lunch Meat together. He had his own trio with, Andrew and Sim, and they were just terrific. And we used to play with those guys too. But that was such an oddball thing that he and I did together, because he was doing Cleft Palate with Chris Chang, and it was always, noisy and offbeat. And it was like, how I lured him into doing this kind of like poppy dance thing was a real trick, except that it really helped that he just had those lyrics. So we put that thing together and it was really fun. That the woman who sang on that was I think she didn't know what she was getting into. She lived up in New York, came out to the boondocks of New Jersey after that farm, had her singing out there. And
she was perfect.
She was terrific. And that album did pretty well. We had a pretty catchy video for it that really helped, and that we got some good video play from that back in the days when that was all happening. So I
think that song would still be popular in the dance clubs. It's because it's such a hook, and it really is. Now I have this also, the RD3 sampler. This way. Do you remember this?
Well, Dennis, only really vaguely, until you were kind enough to remind me of this. And I actually went up into my attic 2 days ago, and I've got I've got a nice pile of stuff back here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So found all of those recordings. We've got at least MP3s of them, all the original artwork. And yeah, so we're going to put it up on the Groceries
Oh,
YouTube.
fantastic.
And yeah, I was like, I didn't even listen to any of that stuff in 40 years. I couldn't even get my hands on it. And it was all up in the attic. So that was,
well, once in a while, I put it in my car and it's like, wow, this stuff is great. I love all the no teeth, no money, no job. I mean, you guys had such, and the guy with the train song there with the dulcimer.
Yep, Dummy Line. Yep,
Dummy Line.
He's your namesake. You know,
and then
I have to tell you what was fun about what we really worked out with that was we used to make those recordings, and then there was this guy, Bill Speeden. He local guy. He had a mastering machine, and we used to take the tape over, and he would cut us lacquers for like $10 each, and then we could take them around to like PRB and RSU and take them to the radio stations, and they would play them. We'd fake up an album jacket. And little known fact, he was an engineer, the inventor of the Speeden microphone, which is this super high-end stereo mic. Anyway, he's just a Central Jersey guy and happened to have a mastering machine. That was always a highlight. You finish the song, go over see Bill Speeden, and he'd cut you a lacquer, and I can still smell. Of those cut lacquers. It was a different world.
Now, where was he based out of? Because there was a guy in Plainfield, that Liquid Idiot. That's the same guy.
Yeah.
What a small world.
Yeah.
That's the same guy. We had the Idiot Orchestra and Liquid Idiot. I think used him also. That's amazing. He was downstairs in his house, right?
Yeah, just in his house.
Yeah.
So in a little suburban neighborhood. Yeah, and a nice guy.
How about that? And then I have this one also, which I still have extra copies.
Well, now you're talking about our stuff.
Yes, great stuff. Yeah. I love Big Mouth, and Greg's guitar playing on that is just off the charts.
Well, let's just say, we had our moments. That one I always felt like that should have done better in the clubs too.
It should have, right? Yeah. Well, I have a friend who works at a goth 80s club in Newark. So I went over there a couple weeks ago. He DJs once a month on a Friday, and he played Big Mouth. And wow, through those speakers, it's still like it doesn't age.
Oh, that's kind of amazing. Had he ever heard it before, or were you?
No, never heard it before. And he was like, "Wow, where'd this come from?" And when you get to that cowboy Western part, it's like amazing. You were the master at that DMX and that Voyetra.
The old Voyetra.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
I remember all this stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. That Voyetra, I don't know what possessed me to buy that thing. It was like, it was like trying to program that thing to make it sound. It was insane. And I was so lucky. I had that thing for a few years. You know who got intrigued by that was the guy who produced Let the Music Play. What was his name? Anyway, because of that, he was like, "Oh, you've got a Voyetra," and I got to sit in on a couple of his sessions because that was like this hot synth at the time, and everybody was like excited about it, and they didn't know it was impossible to use. And so I gave it to his guy. But watching those guys produce records was a huge influence on me. Not the sound so much because they were making like almost disco dance music, but watching the way they worked was like a total eye opener. So it was just one of those lucky experiences. And then I managed to sell my Voyetra to a guy in Australia before, I would say just before its value dropped to zero because the world went in a different direction. But anyway, yes, that Voyetra and I had an interesting time together.
I know you had some great sounds out of that, and you must have worked a lot of hours programming because this was. I don't know if you had. Did you have a computer then, or no computer yet? Right, just as sequencer.
We were just starting in on that stuff. Like everything was putting down, click tracks. It was early days of MIDI when the MIDI software wasn't much, but you were putting down a MIDI track and then, syncing stuff off of it. We had that we had drum machine and all of those. When you think about, God, the effort we used to go to get any two little things to sync up compared to the way it all works now, it was a trip. But we were there at the bleeding edge. What can you say?
Well, I did a lot of work after that with a Alesis sequencer. I played planetariums in the early 90s. So I programmed a lot of things.
I got to hear more about that, Dennis. Which planetariums were you playing?
Well, the New Jersey Planetarium, Mountain Valley Planetarium, and then there was Ocean County. So what I did was I did the backing music on a DAT at that time, and then I played to that. And then one of the shows, Ocean County, they actually had visuals to go with it. So it was really great. It's on my Bandcamp page, the Planetarium Music. Unfortunately, never did a video for it, which I'm really upset about. But what are you going to do? But
yeah, but that's a great idea. So you did the music to their planetarium show,
right? And it was fun. Yeah. I sang, and then I had like 5 keyboards at the time, and hooked everything up.
This was a live show. You weren't just
live show. Yes, live.
Wow.
I was live plus the backing track. So I'm going to put up on my YouTube channel a couple of shows I did like that, but not the planetarium. But there was a period where I was doing all this electronic music and live, and so sometimes it went great. Other times there was, I didn't plug that MIDI cable in right. Like the last minute of a show once, I didn't plug a cable right into the board. I couldn't get anything to work. And it was like 10 minutes before. And then finally I found what was wrong.
Oh, good. Yeah. You didn't have your tech crew with you that night. I've
never had a tech crew.
Dennis, where was that place we played where it was like this real new age audience, and you had the marimba out, and we had like drum tracks going, and we were like, yeah, that was the
last time I think I saw you. That was the only show. Go ahead. The only show we ever did.
Yeah, no, exactly. The one live show, we had drums, we had all this stuff, and I think people were like ready for like some real, spacey music, which we were capable of doing too. But then we hit them with a lot of noise too, and it was like.
I wish I had a tape of that. I don't think we even recorded that.
So that was the last time we actually were in the same place together. That's amazing. I think
so.
Gig. That was a funny gig.
I remember your wedding, and then and then at your house, and then that gig, and then that's been it since now.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? How time flew.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that farm. I was at that farm for 13 years.
Wow.
I was there when I was still in college. We had the whole band thing there, RD3 Records, got married there. Both my kids were born there.
Wow.
And then we finally moved.
Because I remember you had it outside, the reception.
Yeah, exactly.
And was that
place
church?
Now, you remember all those fields. There was 450 acres there.
Right.
All suburban houses now.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, it's probably, what are you going to do? You people, we got to have places to live. It's a crowded state.
Absolutely. This is New Jersey.
So what are you going to do next with music? Are you going to still continue with the Groceries or classical? What's next?
Those are definitely the two things. I play, I've got a really wonderful classical music teacher. He's just an amazing guy, amazing player. He's at this great place that's right near Princeton in Kingston called the New School for Music Study. They have this just amazing faculty that's like, what are they doing here in central New Jersey? It's great. So I keep going with that.
Great.
I'm doing a little more duets and stuff. I last year with another student played a Philip Glass 2-piano 4-hand duet, which was just really inspiring. So there's a lot of getting into modern classical stuff and doing that, which is really fun. And then then I think the Groceries are going to have, or I should say Groceries 2.0.
Right, okay.
I think we're going to have a good run. We've been at it for a couple years. We've got 2 albums out now, and the way we work is so easy. So we've only gotten together once in each other. So everything everyone's got GarageBand, Pro Tools, whatever. We have our Google site. Everybody, uploads the tracks, downloads them, puts their stuff on, and then we have our weekly Zoom call where we discuss what needs to happen next. Say, this part, yes, no. And it's a pretty lively thing. We have a lot of side discussions, during the week. So it's a pretty active. It's an active thing. So I think that could get. Considering we don't have to leave the house, I think this could have a long run.
Now you're not going to play live, right? Are you never going to do any live shows?
Dennis, I get asked that occasionally, and it's like, first of all, it's way past our bedtime. I'm not sure we could stay.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah. But the other part, moving that equipment like you were talking about, but Dennis, we can't remember. It's like we're never mind remembering all those parts and playing them correctly all at the same time. When we're doing like a mix or something, we'll be like, what is that? Is that a guitar? It's like, and who played that? It's like, no one can even remember who played what,
Oh
never
my
mind
gosh.
what we were playing. It's, no, I think that is not going to happen.
Yeah, I do special occasion things. I was in New York. I played on this band. This band is really good. They're called Simon Spine. Young
Ooh, I like
kids,
that name. Yeah.
young kids, high energy. So I went to see them last Saturday. I played on one of their songs here at my little studio. So I got to play on stage with them for the encore. And the energy, I could hardly keep up. It was amazing. But I only do special things like that now. We were younger, when we went to Europe, we carried everything. You know, one of the tours, marimba, guitar, keyboards. I don't know how we did it.
I don't know. You remember I had that Yamaha, Yamaha piano that broke into two pieces. It was a real piano. That thing had to weigh 300 pounds. And I can remember hauling that up the back stairs to Max's Kansas City. It was like, yeah, that is, that's not for old people.
Wow. Now you were lucky to play there. You played Max's Kansas City?
Yeah, we played there a few times.
Okay.
That was, we were like early enough that we got to play there and CBGB's and the Rock Lounge and all those like new wave clubs that were just opening up in New York. Danceteria, we got to play once.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we played there.
Yeah, we you know how we got in at CBGB's. They finally took us in. Then they really liked us because we played there in a snowstorm. And
oh wow,
it was like 1.5 feet of snow. We made it up from New Jersey. All the other bands canceled, and there had to be like 3 people in the club that night, and they were like, "You fuckers made it all the way from New Jersey. Those other bands couldn't even walk down from wherever they live in New York. You guys are okay." And then they had us back like a few more times. We never really got very far at CB's, but the one guy there liked us because we came in a snowstorm.
But I loved their dressing room was the best. All that graffiti in there. But they had a really good sound system.
It was amazing. Yeah.
I always loved their sound system. It's a small place, but it was
the best. Yeah.
In fact,
they had the best clientele. I mean, so that night we played, there were literally 3 people there. This one guy, we started playing. This one guy got up, started jumping crazily, running around. He was dancing his head off. We'd stop, pause between songs. He'd go over to the corner, puke. We'd start up another song. We'd come out, start playing again. That was CB's. He did that like 10 times. And it was like, all right.
Wow. Yeah, that's the impression I got. I've played to places where there's hardly anybody there and big crowds and everything in between. Yep. And, this is a special day for me because in 2011, we played our last show ever, Liquid, at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh.
We opened up for LCD, but we only played 15 minutes. And then the year before that, on the same day, we were on the Jimmy Fallon show with the Roots. So, Andy, you're on a great day here with me.
All right, a lot of nostalgia. You guys got pretty far.
We
you
did.
Guys did great.
We did. We had those that reunion period was fun too. Mm-hmm. But it got to a point where you just can't do it anymore. It's just too much.
I love doing the music, but the tramping around with equipment and all that stuff, it's too much.
It's hard. I have friends who still want to play live in there, and one guy's 62, Raymond Bally, and I don't know how he does it. But he doesn't get paid. But he wants to play.
Yeah. Well, I get it. That live thing, communicating with an audience, there is nothing else like it.
Exactly.
I do classical piano recitals. That's probably as close as I come, but 20, 30 people, but there's still a thrill and an anxiety, all that about playing. And it's a great thing. There's no doubt about it, but hauling the equipment around just doesn't work anymore.
Well, this has been an exciting adventure too, because I only thought of this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you're already the 6th guest, and it's just exciting to see everybody again and really talk about our experiences, because we go back so far. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, that was a great time in Central Jersey. There were so many good musicians, so much new stuff starting up, and a lot of us have hung in there and continue to do things. So it's pretty great. Yeah,
because now I don't know so many bands out there, so much music. You have to weed through the good stuff, but it's hard to keep up. And then everybody's got a short attention span now. Nobody.
Yeah.
You've got the real techno vinyl people. They're always going to be around, but then you have the young kids that are just going through these songs like it's 2 minutes. Okay, next song, next song.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of that? I mean, like, so, so far we've put our songs out in, groups of 8 or 9, like, a small album, because that's, because we're old fashioned and we think that's the way people want to listen to music. I'm not sure anybody ever gets past the second song. So we're like a lot of debate whether we should just like do a song, put it out, do a song, put it out. I don't know. You have any conclusions around that?
I think maybe that's a good idea. Maybe
Mhm.
just put a single out, 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah.
I mean, I still put out the full records, but that's not a bad idea, especially with the attention span of everybody these days.
It's tough. I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
It's tough on them.
I mean, my kids are in their 30s now, and then I've got like, the next generation. It's hard to get them to listen to a whole album.
Now, what do they listen to? Your kids? Were they into?
I was more aware of what they were listening to back in like, the early 2000s. But my daughter's a big Beyonce fan.
How about that?
Yeah, so she was really into that. My son really loves old R&B. He just digs up obscure stuff, and
how about that?
He exposes me to it. So he's kind of he likes all the odds, stuff that no one's heard. So
that's it. Does he listen to any of your older RD3
the older stuff? Some, but I will say who knows what your kids are really telling you? But they say they like our new stuff. So,
but who knows? But it stands up to the test of time, Andrew. It's great. I still listen to the songs. Well, I mean, it's the production is amazing, and the way you put everything together. And then you had Bill Tucker there.
That didn't hurt either. Yeah,
and Bill was special.
Yeah, it was. And, we always put a lot of heart into it. Hey, we even got Sim McDonald played on one of the recent Grocery 2.0 songs. So
how about that?
Bringing everybody back into the fold. Yep,
that's nice. Did you play City Gardens at all?
Would we? Well,
did you play the Groceries?
Groceries probably played there over 200 times. We were like the house band, at that point. And like you were talking about at the Garden, for us, we got to open for everybody that was on the move back then, going between Philadelphia and New York. So we got to play with lots of those new wave bands, the Thompson Twins and, Oingo Boingo, all those guys. It was really fun. I heard that was a wild place. There's a book out about that. I forget the name of it now. I'll try to get it for you. I have, and there's a thing, this Riot on the Dance Floor. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The people, the guy who owned that, Frank, was a great guy. And, who used to bartend there? John Stewart. He grew up in Lawrenceville. Oh, how about that? Yeah. And that's something. Now, there's Randy Now. I saw him. He was, I guess, the manager there, or was he the? Well, he was engineer? The DJ, but he also booked all the bands. So he still has a record store. Yeah. In Boytown. Yep. In fact, I was there last year. He was definitely the scene maker down there. He had his finger on the pulse, and he was great. He would always book us in somewhat begrudgingly. He wasn't a big fan of the Groceries, but we got our share. He was good to us. That's great. Well, you got to see so much back then. That's what's the fun part about it. And but I don't have anything more you want to go over, or this has been great. I hope we can just a shout out to Rich Morse, who was the fifth Grocery. He's was down in Haiti for a long time. He's got this great band everyone should go see. It's called Ram. They play authentic Haitian music. Occasionally he weaves in like an old Groceries song that he adopts to the Haitian style. They've got, he's got real musicians from down there. They play rah-rah music. Those guys are really, really good. And of course they're having a tough time because Haiti is just such a mess right now. They're actually camped out in New Orleans. But anyway, shout out to him, and that's Dennis. Great. It's just great to see you. Maybe you too. And I'm still doing music. Slip you in on one of these Groceries 2.0 songs. Send me anything you want, Andrew. Right. I'll make sure I'll do it for you, free of charge, anytime. All right. Hey, listen, it's great seeing you. Say hello to your wife too, and everybody else that I know down there. And it's been a pleasure. Absolutely, Dennis. Okay. Thanks for setting this up. Appreciate it. Okay. Take care. Yep. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.